Hello, hello. So today we're going to talk about a book, Paris, Mushrooms and Me. Yes, it is the first book I wrote. I haven't published it yet. Actually, I published first my second book because life has a way to send you a curveballs. So thank you for being here. My name is Peggy Van de Plash. And the first book I wrote was really more like a memoir. It was about my experience with microdosing as I started to microdose and I was traveling to Europe. I'm from Europe originally, and France has always been my kryptonite. And I wrote this book 3 years ago. I loved it, but I ended up writing another book. My agent thought it was making more sense to write nonfiction first. And I put on hold that book. And recently I was like, why don't I just take it back? And I'm not ready yet to do the whole agent, publishing house, PR, and the whole process, which is quite long, and I would say resource intensive. So I decided, well, why don't I share some of the chapters with my audience, and we'll go from there, and then we'll see what unfold. And that book, you can really think about it as Bridget Jones meets Eat, Pray, Love with a microdosing twist. And it's really a journey of personal transformation and how microdosing has been, really helpful in my life and in how my personal evolution has been. So it's a fun book. Yes, there is some moments that are maybe a bit more dark, a bit more painful, but I think I try to always bring a smile. And I hope many of you will recognize themselves. I think it can be a book that can be as helpful maybe as this one, more. It's not a guide per se, absolutely not, because it is a memoir, but maybe it's going to resonate differently with some of you because it's probably more of a live-in story. So if you want the full manuscript of Paris, Mushroom and Me, let me know because I can send it to you. I'm happy to do that. You can just send me a comment. And you know what? I was thinking maybe I'm going to read a little bit of the books of a few chapters as I publish on my Substack, maybe 3, 4 chapters, I think, in the next month or so. And I thought, why don't I read some passage of it, and we'll go from there. I just thought it was funny, and we'll see. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't, and we'll go from there. Just share your comments. So the first chapter of the book is called Mushrooms and Shiatsu. And the date is May 25th, 2022, which is when this happened. So be kind with me. It's the first time I ever do a reading, and I'm excited, actually. Usually I talk about my book, but I never actually, because it's a nonfiction, I talk about it, but I never had the opportunity to read that memoir. So here we go. Is it summer yet? Yes, it is. I enthusiastically answered Vanessa, thinking it was the right answer. It keeps changing from hot to warm, she frowned, clearly unhappy about the situation. Yes, I've been constantly putting on and taking off my sweater, I added, slightly panicked, trying to understand what the fuck the difference between warm and hot was, and why it would be a bad thing to be either during the summer. For context, we're in Canada, Toronto to be exact. So weather is pretty much front and center for any small talk, along with real estate prices. Considering that we just survived 6 months of painful winter with more snow dumps than Elon Musk's SEC lawsuits, I was just happy it felt like summer. I had just arrived at Tokyo Acupuncture and Shiatsu Clinic on Yonge and Eglinton for a 120-minute shiatsu massage. The place is, by no stretch of the imagination, luxurious. Nestled in a low-rise, forgettable building, the kind you can find all across North America, The practice sat on the same floor as a pediatric walk-in clinic, which created all kinds of relaxing havoc in the corridor. Vanessa was a very talented practitioner, at least based on my absolutely non-existent experience with this type of massage. So I was committed to enduring the environment for the greater good, meaning mostly mine. I had discovered shiatsu a couple of months earlier and decided to give it a try as part of my ongoing quest for self-improvement and personal growth. This was my third session with Vanessa. Shiatsu is an ancient Japanese healing technique that uses pressure on certain meridians to free stuck energy. Imagine someone pressing with their thumbs, elbows, and knees on sensitive parts of your anatomy, and you will have a good idea of what shiatsu feels like. In my quest for a new me, nothing was too odd there to try. Over the years, I had tested more techniques than I dared to remember. Hypnosis, Kundalini yoga, Mexican sweat lodges, meditation, coaching, tapping, breathwork, energy healing, oracle cards reading, and now shiatsu and microdosing. I'm proud or scared to say that if it existed, I'd probably tried it. You've got nothing on me, Gwyneth Paltrow. You seem in a good mood, Vanessa said suspiciously. Yes, I just started microdosing, I answered with a beaming smile, so happy to have something exciting to say and, wow, to be on mushrooms. Ah, she replied, looking into my eyes like I just confessed to a daily regimen of heroin, Marlboro Reds, and tanning beds. Sensing the judgment, I started to backpedal. Well, these are very small doses, and I just started. Yes, you seem very giddy, she said, and that was not a compliment. Vanessa is probably in her late 30s or early 40s. It's hard to tell because she always wears a protective mask. Over the last few months, I'd managed to piece together a few details about her. She lives with her sister and parents, is of Chinese descent, doesn't like crowds or noisy environments, and definitely does not appreciate busy minds. In retrospect, it seems obvious that sharing my microdosing journey was not the best idea. Anyway, I got on the table for my 2-hour shiatsu massage, hoping she'd drop the topic. But Vanessa was not done. Where do you buy them? She asked, clearly concerned. From my massage therapist. It's legal in Canada. The industry is highly regulated. It comes in a chocolate bar and I take half the minimum recommended dose, I said, hoping to put the topic to rest, or rather to the massage table. I did exaggerate a little. The first dose I took 3 days earlier was 0.3 gram. 50% more than the 0.2 gram recommended for beginners. But in my defense, cutting the chocolate would have made a mess, so I didn't think twice and gobbled the whole thing. Also, a very reliable source, a microdosing for beginners post I found on Medium, recommended starting with a high dose and working your way down. Made perfect sense to me, so I jumped in with enthusiasm. It was Thursday and I was on my second dose, 0.15 gram, having mustered the willpower to cut the chocolate in half. The effects were much milder. My strategy at that point was to take 0.15 grams every other day instead of 0.1 gram every 3 days. Microdosing really seemed as much as an art as a science. Finally, I was laying on my back, eyes closed, hoping the cross-examination was over and we could start. After a few presses and stretches, Vanessa asked me to turn and lie face down. Cue the oh-so-familiar struggle. My head rested at a 45-degree angle in the wrong direction, and the pillow, supposedly to be neatly tucked under my legs, was also diagonally misaligned. A strong start. Despite my increasingly stuffed nose, I managed to doze off a bit. That's when Vanessa decided to give me an extra treatment, without asking, of course. I felt something being rubbed on my back, and with horror, remembered the clinic offered a service called moxibustion. In short, herbs are placed on the body and burned using some kind of incense stick to help absorption. By the time I realized what was happening, it was too late. I endured it, thank you, mushrooms, and when it was done, Vanessa decided that the headrest was not aligned properly. Still face down, I had to activate my abs to hold my head up while she fumbled with the headrest. Predictably, it locked into an even steeper angle. As Vanessa put it, we're almost done with the back, so we'll just continue like this. It was finally time for me to lie on my back. I'm 5'11", so on most tables, which must have been built for children, my feet dangle in the air. Vanessa burst out laughing. You're so tall that even for men, the table is long enough. I don't know if the clinic offers discounts for short men, but I cannot be the only person in Toronto above average height. I wondered if she tells larger clients they're spilling off the table in the other direction. She had mentioned during previous sessions that I was too skinny, so maybe she was more tolerant with overweight people, or maybe she just enjoyed torturing me. So this became a fascinating topic for her. Is your father tall? Yes, both my parents are tall, I replied, wondering why only my father's height was relevant. Is your husband tall? There it was, the question she really wanted to ask. No, my husband is shorter than I am. She beamed. I had a feeling. I stayed silent, unsure how to process that. Why did I look like someone with a shorter husband? Must be my amp. Let's not forget, I had taken a small dose of psychedelics a few hours earlier, for only the second time in my life. So there was a slight ping buffer on my reactions. In shiatsu, pressure on specific points should be moderate, strong enough to do something, but gentle enough not to hurt. Well, Vanessa must have been reinvigorated by our conversation, or she thought she needed to expel toxins from my body because she walked me like it was my last shiatsu ever. And it might be. She used her elbows inside my thighs with renewed energy. Sure, those are important meridians, but nerves are there too, and it hurt. My body must have needed a break because I sneezed. That was apparently hilarious. You're allergic to me, Vanessa said in a sing-song voice. No, not at all, I replied, worried she could read my mind. Just a sneeze, maybe the temperature difference. Oh, you're cold, she panicked, fluffing the sheet like she was pitching a tent. No, not at all. It was probably just a sneeze. I tried to reassure her as if I'd committed a social crime. You blush easily, she laughed. Yes, I do, I answered, mortified. That's good, good circulation, she concluded. Telling a blusher that they blush is possibly the worst offense you can make. I've done hypnosis, therapy, you name it, to deal with my blushing. It was so bad until my 30s that anything could trigger it. And I've never understood why people would be cruel enough to point it out. Maybe just mindless. Every time it happened, I fantasized about giving these people a taste of their own medicine. Here I was blushing because I was trying not to hurt her feelings. Next time, I might just say, yes, I'm allergic to you. The worst part, Vanessa is a lovely person. She just has zero awareness of other people's feelings. In under 2 hours, she managed to insult my height, my blushing, and my husband. A record, especially for a supposedly silent treatment. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. It's probably 40%, maybe 40% of chapter one. If you like it, I hope you like it. I'm not sure if I gave it justice. I hope I gave it justice. You can read the full chapter, as I say, on my Substack, Piggy on the Plash, or my LinkedIn as well, my LinkedIn newsletter. And if you want the full manuscript, well, I would be happy to send you the PDF, and you can read it and tell me what you think. So thank you again for listening, watching, whatever you're doing with that podcast. And please feel free to comment. I appreciate your thoughts. Bye. Have a great day.